Well, the cool thing about um, Raw for me right now is, when I think about it, and when people probably would describe me, and when I would say it, I know I'm raw. Like that would be my disclaimer on comment 100%. Whatever's on the top of my head, it's my truth.
Build $1,000,000 legacy with purpose.
We live on YouTube, y'all. And it was a whole thing, right, Tamiko? So we had to do some pivots. Isn't that usually how life is? Like when you are hyped, and both of us were hyped about and still are going live on YouTube for the first time. And especially when you're in this learning curve, things happen. But I think the key to that is not to become overly anxious. I'm gonna go to Tamika's one of her like really basic saying, like just be. Just be. With that said, I am Dr. Marnita on Fire, YouTube Live, your performance and achievement coach. I'm here with convos for your calling. Listen, we are in season 3. We are in season 3. So our co-host today is...
Hey, you guys, welcome. Tamiko Ruby J here, your spiritual mentor and coach, doing it all through a modality called Reiki as a Reiki master teacher. And listen, we are in season 3 with my host and me as your co-host. And when we say on fire, listen, there's something about taking little mental sabbaticals. They make you fresh, raw, and ready for what's next.
I love that.
Y'all ready?
Because that's what we're doing this season. This season, we going raw. All out there, like unconditioned.
And unedited, kind of.
We're getting back to our natural raw state, a state of being. I love that part. I'm excited. Thank you for everyone who has been with us through the last 2 seasons. Tamiko, can you believe it?
No.
Completed 2 entire seasons. Just to remind some of you, our first season was all about image. And our second season was all about it's your attitude. And this season, it's all about raw. And actually, Tamika and I were talking probably more towards the end of the second season. Tamika woke up with this epiphany for a theme, which I was too excited about. And kind of like the raw part comes out of that. You want to explain that for our guests?
Absolutely. Thank you, Marnita. What came to me in watching our episodes and the authenticity of the realness and the rawness in which we're operating unscripted, not untitled, because we definitely have a theme. But what I woke up with is a friend of mine had said a couple of months back, years back, whenever, but the point is, it was like, well, who are the elders? Like, who are we to learn from, truly learn from their experience in life? And what came to me is this, I don't even know if it's title, but I want to say this call to order. And it was wise women raw, just having experienced their depth of life. And with life comes wisdom, even if it's what not to do. But there comes wisdom. And especially when we ended season 2, right coming up to the tail end, the end of 2024. And just like I said, going back and listening to, I'm going to say returning to our episodes. And I was like, wow, because I love to say between the two of us, we got over 120 years on this planet. Think about that for a minute, you know? And so when one asks, wow, like, wow, really? Like you 60 plus? Wow, you don't look your age. And
Mm.
every time I hear that, I want to say, so what is 60 supposed to look like? What is 60 plus supposed to look like? What is 60 plus? And so that's what came up with Wise Women Raw. Like, and as you guys have seen in several of our episodes, when I'm unscripted, I'm raw. And that's me trying to adjust. Trust me. But this season, we might have to put a PG-13, PG-18, PG-21 disclaimer on it. We'll see.
Yeah, that is so good. I'm glad you mentioned that because one thing Tamiko and I usually do before we even go live is we have a green room experience
Yes.
and some stuff be coming up in there. And we kind of bypassed that one today only because we were figuring stuff out. I love how we really have the potential and the ability and capacity to do pivots and not like we're old enough to know there's always a workaround. Like what you think was initially what you started out to do may not work out. But knowing, if we look back over our history, knowing that we've been able to navigate some stuff and get to the result that may not look like what we wanted to look like from first thought, but it ended up turning out okay. And I'm going to stretch that okay and pretty much say extraordinary.
Yes, it. I was getting, but I didn't. I was good. I was good. I didn't change my face. Like I
You
just
know
sent
what?
that
Tamika
energy.
get
Like
this
we don't
look
do
over her
okay.
face, like,
We don't do okay.
look,
I'm just sitting
Marnita,
here like, okay, we're gonna
you
change
you
that.
over on that one.
Right, right, right. But that's so true. And I have to commend too that being able to trust that technology is going to do what technology does. Okay. And just as a backstory or a little green room, we were ready to go live at 1 o'clock, 1:03, right? And so with all of the pivots and the workarounds and all of the things, and I really, and I kept saying, Juanita, I was like, we going live somewhere. We gonna do this today if we have to record it, however we have to record it. Because what set in my energy today is the momentum that we've had over the last 2 weeks. We may not have been live for our audience, but we still continue to meet and collaborate on what the seasons have been and how we're moving forward into season 3. And so it built the momentum, it built the fire, it fanned it, right?
Yeah.
And you gotta trust it. And I was like, this is interesting that this is happening. Something as simple as you sending me the link and that didn't even come through. You were like, I thought I sent it. So I'm
No,
sitting here like from a energetic perspective, like, how bad do you want it?
you know what?
How bad do you want it? And I'm
No,
talking to
there's like,
myself, right? Because I'm like
oh,
that perfection in me, like, oh, we said 1 o'clock, we're gonna do it this way. I'm in a high class, so the consistency is show up, be ready for whatever happens, and let's go.
Tamiko, this is going to be such a great story for your class too.
Oh, yes. And tomorrow, I cannot wait on this one. Like, wow, wow,
Oh
wow,
my
wow.
goodness, this is going to be a testimonial to a revelation that's going to allow some people to like think twice about how they're going to transform through their own territory when things don't quite turn out the way you expect them to initially. And that's why we're giving the ability to think through some stuff.
Exactly. Exactly. Think through it and work through it. And that was the thing, just staying purposeful, right? Really staying purposeful. Um, that's the beauty in this, again. And it was like, never let them see you sweat. I was like, okay, I ain't even sweat. Like, we got this. We gonna get it. Hey, I got something scheduled at 4. Okay, we got it till 4 o'clock. I hope it don't take that long, but and
I
stay
was so
focused.
on 10 this morning when I woke up, and I think I woke up about 4
Mm-hmm.
something.
Mm-hmm.
I
Exactly.
was so on 10 because although I had content ready, the practicality of going now, for those of you who are don't have to think twice about going on YouTube Live, we're not talking to you. I'm talking.
I.e. my son. the
We are
audio
not
visual,
talking to.
the audio visual engineer. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. We talking to those people that not only when I say like, why don't you do a YouTube channel, that I'm afraid. Like, I'm talking to those people. You're afraid of your voice, and you're afraid of technology, not knowing that you were created to dominate anything you touch. Come on, y'all.
That part.
Come on. Give us some love in the chat if you heard what I just said.
Yeah. I mean, another testimony, a friend that client friend that I'm working with right now. And I ain't gonna go into the details because she'll know it's her. But it's interesting because now she's retired from corporate, and something as simple as trying to use um a Groupon that she purchased back in November or whenever it was. And that deadline was coming up to use this, and it was a really good deal. And she was trying to use this thing. I was like, she was like, I need to do this because otherwise it expires. And and she's freaking. I was like, whoa, 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 let's bring it down 10,000, right? So that was another thing, that just trying to use this Groupon, which I didn't even know that they were still available. Oh, shame on me.
Out there.
I listen, I did not know. And based on the amount of time that it took me to actually redeem these two, I told her the time that was just spent trying to redeem this to me was not worth the investment. Okay. Because it was that ridiculous to try to use. But I had to actually have her leave the room because she was so anxious with just that it's not working
Mm,
for you because you're not doing this. I am, and I am going to need you to leave the space and close the door
yeah.
because you're so hell bent that it's not going to work, that it's not going to work. So get away from me. How about that? And I got her done. And so we were loud, and she was like, what did you do? I said, I don't know. And I suggest that you don't go buying something you don't know how to use again. I don't even know what I did. I just got it done.
Mhm,
I
mhm.
can't walk you through because I'm like, okay, that part worked. What's next? Okay, that part. I will say this, I read the directions.
Yeah.
Okay. And then just follow through. Like, this has to work. It expires on the 5th. This has to work today. I set the intention for it to work today. It's not that difficult. It's still okay. Okay. It's based on things where people have time to sit and do this. So we're going to do it. And but that's a perfect example, I feel, of someone that feels a little intimidated by technology because, again, some things are not designed. I can't believe this is where we're going with this conversation, but not all things are designed to be used on certain devices. Everything, if it doesn't, if the company might not have a mobile app, it might not be easy to use what you're trying to use on a mobile app. You might have to go. Everything is not made to be able to use on your iPad or on your tablet. Sometimes you actually have to go to an actual computer. And if you over 65, you better give yourself some time and some patience to be able to deal with that and trying to look at these little bitty phones. And if you have your font on 40, you only gonna see 3 letters at a time. It's hard to try to navigate when
Right.
you looking at the alphabet like you used to look at in kindergarten, because all of your 3 letters at a time and what's on the screen, that's hard to navigate. I'm just saying for our mature audience.
Right.
I'm just
Right.
saying, you got to know your limitations.
That's true.
You got to know your limitations. Otherwise, you're going to be very, 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 very frustrated. And when we are mature and we get frustrated, that's when your blood pressure go up and all of the things. So that's my public service wellness announcement on how to work with modern technology.
That is so good. That is so good. As we embark on this season, you want to share with people what raw means for you and what you hope to unfold coming into this new season?
Well, it's my truth. It's going to come out, right? And oftentimes when we hear the word raw, it can mean just that, you know. And I realize when people heard it that or hear it, it can have a sense of rudeness to it. It can have a sense of attitude to it. It can have a sense of, you know, and for many, many years, that's what it's been for me.
Okay.
But now, as I have entered into my soft life, it's a word of truth. It's a word that also represents freedom. It represents authenticity. It represents organic. It represents realness, and unapologetically owning and being with oneself. That's what it is for me. And so from that, it defies how I'm moving in that element of life right now, you know. And I know my sister got some framework for us because you came with a good one when we were in the green room. And that was
Yeah,
it.
I did, but I've been ruminating over the whole word raw now for a couple of weeks. And we did talk about what that could mean for people,
Mhm,
meaning the acronym that we came up with, which
mhm.
is real absolute wellness.
Yes.
Um, and that is on several wellness is just not physical wellness. Oh, it's just not mental wellness. Wellness is wholeness, like in totality, complete. And oftentimes, so if you put stuff into that wholeness basket, you're talking about emotions, you're talking about mental, you are talking about physical, you're talking about relational. There is like so many things based on your conditioning that we could be talking about when it comes to real absolute wellness. And hopefully, what I look forward to in this season is tapping onto several different areas of that and how Tamiko and I have been able, because we talk every week, but how we've been able to transition in and out of different circumstances and just situations and still come out on the other side in real absolute wellness,
Mhm,
depending on what that is. And I love the word absolute.
mhm, mhm.
Do you want to
I'm
know
laughing.
why? Do you,
Okay, I'll tell you, but you tell me why. But I'm gonna tell you why I giggle. But go ahead.
do you want me to tell you why?
Yes, tell us why.
The reason I love the word absolute is because y'all don't know this, but I went through 12 years of school. higher education, not just even the preliminary school. I did so many years for my bachelor's, so many years for my master's, and so many years for my PhD. And the culmination of all of those years was 12 years of schooling. And one subject matter that was consistent through all the years is math. Like I took the algebra and the trigonometry, the calculus. And what I remember is that there's this element in math where they call the absolute value
Mm,
of a number. So either in mathematics, a number could be positive or it could be negative. But when you put two bars around the numbers, like two bars horizontally around, no, vertically on either side of the number, it becomes the absolute value of that number. It's neither positive. I love this. It's neither positive nor is it negative. It is just the grandeur of the number.
mhm,
So when I think about that, real absolute wellness means the grandeur of my wholeness on every level. And so as I was thinking about that, I said, this is going to be so good because we don't have to assign whether something is good or bad. It just is.
exactly.
Did you hear what your sister just
Exactly.
said?
Exactly. Exactly. It is. And to reiterate what you're just saying, I just heard something yesterday. So let me laugh. Let me say why I laughed when you said absolute, because the younger Tamiko immediately thought of a beverage. We're just gonna leave it there. Um, and that was when I was on my lower level cocktailing, because that now, oh, you can go to higher levels of vodka anyway. But the other thing that you just said when you talked about numbers and you talked about absolute, and I just heard this literally yesterday of think I'll say who said it. But the interesting thing about mathematics, and when we think of one, how is it that one times one equals one?
Mhm.
So when you with what you just said about the wholeness in totality, from a spiritual perspective, if we know two, one plus one equals two, but one times one equals one, I just put that there for ruminate
Out for
on the
consideration.
thought. There you go.
Yeah.
This is how we come in this season, y'all. You're gonna have to think a little bit or not.
Or not. It's not mandatory. So yes, I do have a framework. Just before we came on, Tamiko, I was telling you I was thinking and like it kept raw. I've been ruminating on that word, but I said turn the word around, like and it spells war.
Mhm.
I said interesting. So what are you telling me? What does that mean? And right now I'm speaking to my spirit. Like, what does that mean? What are you telling? What are you trying to tell me here?
Mhm.
And so I sat and thought about it a little bit, and I shared it with you before we got on, having a conversation, because I wanted her to give her a heads up because it was kind of like I tend to come up with some stuff that's kind of stretchy, but I wanted to give her a heads up. And so in this season, as we are being raw with our content, with experiences, with what we want to share with you in regards to the principles that we have been able to sustainably benefit for our own elevation as we experience our transformation on this earth. The flip side of that word is war. Just look at the word and spell it backwards. It's war. And what I do realize when I'm thinking about, y'all see my eyes going up in my head, when I'm thinking about everything that I've been through, I do feel like I have experience going through war in my own personal development, in my own personal of excavating truth for me and who I am in regards to my image and my attitude. Now I want to start unfolding the war raw because I had to go through war to get there. Well,
That.
what does that mean, Dr. Marnita?
Mhm. Mhm. Exactly.
What does that mean? Well, I put some words to it, and you might want to make up your own words or your own alignment of what raw means for you. But here it go. Here it is. Y'all ready for it? Here it is. The W means to being open to being worked on by God. That's what it took for me. Because he created me in his image. And because I know I had strayed so far what that image was, I know I have. I think I said in one earlier video that I was wretched. And probably still am in some kind of way, but I am continuously emerging to being the person that he created me to be. So W means work on, like he's working on you. And the
Wow.
A, do you want to say something to that, Tamika,
I was just going to say, if you allow it,
if
because
you allow it?
you will not override your free will. Continue. You doing good. You are on schedule. Let's go. Let's go.
And the other word is the A is for being in alignment with the attributes of Jesus, which is his clarity, his courage, and his character.
That's it.
Like he's the most perfect human and spirit God that walked the earth,
That part. So
right?
for those of you who may not resonate with the Christian philosophy or the Christian way of life, allow yourself to just think about the attributes of the spirit of the essence of who Christ is. Okay, because we're in a time right now, not based on religion, but based on true spirituality. And before you turn completely off from the idea of Christianity, allow yourself to sit in a moment and just think about that comment and think about the essence of the person. Because we're gonna go deeper. But we got one more for you guys.
We have one more.
One more.
The R is resilience. Having the resilience for sustainable revelation, like constant truth, sustainable revelation for a transformation as you move through this thing we call life on earth.
That part.
That was so good. And that was just like just before we got on. I think it's good.
It is good. Don't do that. Just
I
stay.
think it's good. I think it's really good. If you can just take and just think about it, and if it works for you, fine. And
And
Tamika,
it works for you. Fine.
yeah, Tamika always say we're not for everybody,
Right. We're not.
right?
Right. We're
Um,
not. You know, and I want to speak to that. Okay, we'll see. I just want to say this because then so you guys got the framework, okay? And that's good. And so as we fade out, we're going to expand and pause, but we're going to continue. So if people go back, because we go a little deeper into it, we're not cutting it short. We're only cutting it short because again, we had a little bit of technical difficulties with starting with old school Facebook, whatever. But I want to say, when you just said, we're not for, I say it all the time, we're not for everybody, right? Well, I know that I am a vegan. I am a vegan, whatever that means. I am a vegan. It just means I don't eat meat, I don't eat cheese, I don't, even though in Cleveland, cheese, I guess, is vegan. That's a whole nother conversation. But just because I have a certain diet, it does not mean that I can't go to certain restaurants. It just means once I get there, I'm gonna take what works for me. Okay. I love it when I go with certain people and they are saying, "Oh, well, Tamiko doesn't eat this." I can handle my diet. I'm good.
Yeah.
Okay. So just keep that in mind. Some of this stuff is not for you to digest, and that's okay. Right? That's okay. Um, I had a person say to me, "Well, I couldn't get past this." Okay.
Yeah.
You know, no disrespect, but one monkey, one baboon, one chimpanzee, one squirrel monkey don't stop no shows here, baby. And
Yeah.
on that note, we are there we are. So did it.
Um, I just want to say thank you so much for tuning in, and I'm excited about this season, Tamiko.
Yes, this is
Um,
good.
it's gonna be raw,
Yeah.
and we're gonna bring it.
And we're
So
gonna share some of our battles
ready,
that got us here.
get ready, get ready, get ready.
And that's it.
With that being said, we're gonna see you next week at 1 o'clock. We'll be a little bit more refined next week, and whether or not this showed up live on YouTube or not, we'll have it figured out by next week. There's some little tweaks as I'm doing the recording that I had to like figure out. Like even now, like I'm looking at like what's going on, and yeah. So until next week at 1 o'clock on Tuesday, we will see you then, right?
Have an amazing week. An amazing week. And remember, don't do anything that I wouldn't do twice because I might try anything once. Peace.